Okay, now before we continue, I want to spend a little bit of time organizing the session. We're going to do things like name all the tracks and regions, color code them, and get them organized for easy navigation. We're also going to start to set up our groups that we're going to use during the final mixdown. So we're just going to start at the top and go down and name the tracks. So first one, we'll do lead box 1, then lead box 2, harmony 1. All right, the drums are named, so skip down to loop 1, loop 2, the perk hit and the clap, and the shaker. Okay, so the aggressive bass patch we were using just to get our bass pattern and only using it as a reference. So we'll go ahead and click at the top where the channel strips are. Come up here to reset channel strip. And we'll go ahead and delete this track. And then we'll go the analog deep layer, then we'll do bass high for the EVB3, the sub bass, and then we'll do the bass and distortion for the high res. And then we'll do live bass. And then we'll also come over and name the regions. So we can just bring up our text tool, hit escape, and come down to tool number 4, the text tool, and then click on the region. Then we can name these live bass. And then we'll click and select all these regions, and we'll just call them all the bass. Leave the aliases the way they are, and that'll name all those. Hip hop shaker, clap, percussion hit, loop 2, loop 1. There's our crash. And everything else is named. Okay, great. So next, we're going to go ahead and start to color code these for easy navigations. Now, you can come up with whatever system works for you, but I'll usually quickly just select all the drum tracks, then hit Option C, and I'll usually do these like a real dark blue or something. I forgot the shaker there, so I'll select all these again. And then the bass line, I'll always do in black, and that's just my personal preference and allows me to quickly navigate through any session. So let's go ahead and loop the bass line out as well. And great. So next, let's get into the mixer. And what we're going to do is also color code them in here. So likewise, we can just click each track and then lasso all the drum parts. Option C again. Click blue. And do the same thing for the bass line, make those black. And what we're going to do now is select all the vocals, and we're going to start to set up our groups for mixing. And the first one we're going to set up is the vocal group. So the way we do this is we'll select all the vocal tracks, then come to the output of any one of those tracks. And we're going to click these, and we're going to change it from output 1 and 2, and we're going to put it to a bus. Now I normally leave the first 8 or 9 buses available for effect sends, which we'll set up a little bit later. But for my music groups, I'm going to usually put those at bus 10 and lower. So let's go ahead and select that to be bus 10, and that'll send all these vocal tracks first to bus 10. Now Logic has dynamic channel strip creation, and normally if we set up a bus, it'll automatically route an aux track immediately with the input that we selected. But notice ours says UB3 and 4. That's the output from Ultrabeat 3 and 4. Now we were using the Ultrabeat a little bit earlier when we demonstrated a way to make our groove patterns. And so that's why this routing came up this way. So in order to change this, it's very simple. Just come up here to the input, and what we want to do is set this aux1 to receive the input from bus 10. And what that's going to do is take all these vocal tracks, and if I solo these and unmute them in the arrange page, all those vocal tracks are being routed to bus 10. So the output of these tracks are corresponding to the input of the aux. So now I can control all of those vocal tracks with this one fader. And that's really going to help us with mixing and processing all of our files. So now I can double click this aux, and I'm going to call this Vox bus. So that's our vocal bus. And we're going to do the exact same thing for our drum tracks. So we're going to select all the drum tracks, and same thing, we're going to go change them from output 1 and 2, and we're going to put those to bus 11. And then again, aux2 comes up, and because we were using Ultra B earlier, it still has the input assignment. So we're going to select that, go down here to bus, and we're going to select that to 11. So that is now our drum bus. And last, we're going to take all of our bass layers and put those to bus 12. aux3, set the input to bus 12, and we'll call this the bass bus. Now again, normally Logic will create these automatically for you. So if you find yourself setting up groups and it's automatically connected to the aux as it's created, then you should be fine. All right, now what we're going to do is select all these, and I'm going to color code these. I usually do it like an orange so that they stand out. And with these selected, I'm also going to come up here to Options, and I'm going to select Create Arrange Tracks for selected channel strips. And what that does is bring all 3 of those groups into the Arrange page so that I can instantly have access to them from the Arrange page. So now, let's go ahead and save that. We're going to grab the vocal bus, and I'm going to drag it just above the kick track, which is below all of our vocal files. And I'm going to put each one of these buses right underneath the last track of each group. And again, this just really helps us get organized. Once that's done, I'm going to select the pencil tool. And I'm going to click on that bus track on all 3 of them. And that's going to give me a little orange region. What I'm going to do then is come up here and put my mouse in the lower right-hand corner of the region, and I'm going to extend all 3 of these out. And that's going to give me a nice big visual marker that lets me know that those are my buses. Then I'll bring up the text tool, go to the right-hand side, and what I like to do is put in a little bracket, and that immediately tells me what each one of them are. Okay. So now all of our groups are set up, and what we can do is come back into the mixer, and let's go ahead and make a loop. And now I can just select each one of these buses, bring up the vocals, move down to the drums, and that's a great way to set up our nice reference mix as we're working. And now I can set up all the individual drum tracks however I want and then adjust the overall level using this group track.